Hey, good afternoon, all you land lovers. Phil McPhail here with United Country Lifestyle Properties Maine. Today, I want you to join me. I'm going to show you an affordable, out in the middle of the woods lot for your off-grid cabin or a place to park your camper, come do some tanning, walk through the woods. And we got some nice woods to walk through. So stick around. We're going to look at 11.9 acres, priced very affordably in an off-grid situation here in the town of Winn. And be sure to hang around. We're going to show you Dwinell Pond Wildlife Management Area that's only 1.5 miles from this property that you can enjoy while you're here. We're going to jump on this property here right now, and we'll talk about the location a little bit later. But first thing I want to show you, we're at the very beginning of the road here of the property. It's got over 600 feet of frontage on this road, branch road, and then the side road over here, it's got about 800 plus feet of frontage along that road. So two boundary lines are roads. Very easy to maintain your boundaries when your boundaries are roads. We've got a painted line on the east side, and the south side is also a painted line. So we're going to take a look at all that while we're walking the property. All right, so we're going to walk down this first road till we get to the other end of the property. And while we're walking, come along with me, folks. We're going to talk about the town of Winn. This property is located on what's called Branch Road. This is 35 Branch Road in the town of Winn. Winn is a small town in Penobscot County, just north of Lincoln, Maine, where one of our offices are. And this town has about 404 people population, so it's a small little town. We've got a little takeout stand, Berryland downtown, the Winn General Store for gas, and a little snack bar for a place to eat. Not a whole lot of things going on in Winn other than that. We do have a nice boat landing on the Penobscot River, and as I mentioned earlier, we got the Dwinell Pond Wildlife Management Area and the Dwinell Pond Four Seasons ATV and snowmobile clubhouse. We'll check that out too while we're down at Dwinell Pond. The property here in Winn is located about 18 miles from the nearest town where you can buy groceries and hospital and car dealers and all kinds of services, restaurants and everything. That's the town of Lincoln. City of Bangor from this property is about 66 miles. That's an hour, just over an hour's drive from here. And the city of Boston is about 300 miles from this location. Okay, we've walked down the road 800 odd feet to the other side of the property. This is going to be the southwest corner of the lot. I have found, like I said earlier, the roads are two lines. So we got the intersection of the two roads being a corner. This is the other corner in the southwest. I have found the southeast corner. We're going to take a walk over there and see what that looks like. However, when you get here, you'll see some ribbon. There's a boundary line blaze on this side. There are some blazes when we get into the woods here, but there's probably a corner pin here. I just can't find it in the leaves, folks. So we're gonna jump in the woods now and take a look around, see what it looks like off the road. Okay, we're just off the road now. Like I said, I looked again for the corner pin, could not find one. However, we only get in here about, I don't know, probably 50 feet off the road, and we start to see some old blazes on the trees. You can see the scar that the surveyor had put on here when they surveyed this property. This property has been fully surveyed. Boy, there's a story to tell you, folks. Whenever you are in the woods, and I can tell you this from personal experience, careful what you lean up against. This is a lime tree. It's spotted, but it is quite dead. And I leaned up against a tree like this 25 years ago, I think. And 6 feet of it broke off the top and came down and hit one of my customers right on top of the head. And I thought it nearly killed him. He wasn't very happy, and it scared me quite a bit. So careful what you lean up against when you're walking in the woods. Just a tip of the day. Well, folks, we're almost over here, and you can probably see on the video we're getting to this corner. And this is going to be our southeast corner of the property. And we've actually got the benefit of a recent survey line here done by probably our neighbor here to the east. Nice big orange corner post set in stones, probably where the original post was set in 1996 by the surveyor. And as you turn around behind me, and you look this way, you can see this red blaze line. We're going to follow this in and out, and it comes up to the northeast corner. So it's really nice. Like I said, the south line, old blazes, they're in place. East line, beautiful red paint. Anybody could follow this line. So we're walking along this line. We're still finding these old blazes, and I would, if it were me and I bought this lot, the first thing I'd do is I'd freshen up this southern boundary. You can find it. The line's fairly well marked, but that paint is getting quite faded. So it ought to be freshened up. Again, we got some more paint here. Another old mark on the tree. One thing you gotta notice about this property as we walk through here, folks, is how nicely wooded it is. I know a lot of comments, you know, they're always selling stuff that's been timber harvested. Well, this has been timber harvested. It's just been over 30 years. And you can tell because this was blazed at the time after that last harvest. We got some beautiful hemlock along this boundary line. The majority of this lot is hardwood. And I've walked this already before we filmed it to find the lines and get a feel for what it is. Most of it is American beech, maple. We've got yellow birches in here. We've got a fair amount of white birch in places. And as you can see, as we come off that line, this southern line, we're kind of walking onto the lot now. We've got a lot more hardwood, almost exclusively hardwood with a few hemlock scattered through it. But it's really easy to walk through this property. As you can see in the, hopefully it shows in the video, there's very little underbrush. You know, all of the hardwood that grew up really thick, the young ones have died and fallen over. You can kind of see them on the ground. They got choked out by the more healthy and the bigger trees. Got a nice bunch of red maples right here. We're gonna keep walking across this lot, and as you can tell, it's not too steep. It's fairly level. I think our elevations here, we'll put the topo on the screen. They're gonna run anywhere from 385 feet, I think, to 410 feet above sea level. That's pretty minimal elevation change over an 11.9 acre lot. All right, we're gonna keep walking. We're almost to the easterly line, and we'll stop and we'll show you that when we get there. Okay, we're gonna head north now up this eastern line. You can see that off to my right, and again, we're walking over relatively level ground, although I've nearly tripped and fallen half a dozen times today. It's hard to see in all these freshly fallen leaves if a hole or a stick is in your way. And that brings me to the ground level, I guess. Let's talk about the soil quality of this lot. Pulled up the NRCS web soil survey, and according to that, this is almost exclusively Thorndike Winnecook Complex soil, rocky, okay? And this is a pretty well-drained soil. It's not too deep to bedrock. However, it's a pretty fertile soil. A lot of Thorndike soils are in our potato fields up north. They've cleaned the rocks out of their fields. If you were to clear this, pull some stumps, pull some rocks, and get your pH right, this would grow grasses well. You know, if you wanted a little mini food plot in here, if you're a hunter, you wanted to make it a little more attractive to deer and turkeys and grouse or whatever you like hunting, be a pretty easy lot to do. I'm sure it's rocky like all of our state, but you could make something of this. And as you can see, we've got some pretty good sized trees. Here's a maple right here, although this one's at the end of its life, I'd say. But that's a pretty nice maple, and it's helping other ones come up around it. We've got some beech in here that's in good condition. So, you know, in the state of Maine, as you know, beech bark disease is pretty prevalent, and we're seeing a fair amount of that on this property, but fantastic firewood. If you're looking for a firewood lot, you're gonna use this to heat your cabin or your off-grid cabin or house or whatever you decide to do in here. You'll never run out of firewood on this property. You can just cut what dies and falls over to heat your cabin. We're almost out to the northeast corner where the road and the property line meet. And I wanted to show you, here's a beautiful example of a yellow birch, nice healthy one. And then as we come around over here, we've got some really large, we got a couple real large white birches over here. As I said earlier, the beech trees are good firewood. I'd probably try to preserve my beech trees. I mean my birch trees here till they got to log size like this. This is a dandy, pretty straight, good looking tree. Everybody knows white birch. Make canoes out of them, right? Out of the birch bark. And now we're almost to the other corner. And we're coming back towards the eastern line now. We kind of wandered onto the lot a little bit. But what we've seen is pretty similar. It's all nice sized hardwoods, very little underbrush, easy place to walk. All right, we made it back out to the road, and the post is actually set, according to the survey plan, about 30 feet off the center of the road, plus or minus. I'd say it's less than 33 feet, but nice solid 4x4 pressure treated post set in stones, all painted red, can't miss it. Let's jump back out on the road so you can see where we're at. This is the northeast corner on the map. And we're back to our gravel road. 600 plus feet of frontage along this road. I think we got over 1,400 feet total, 1,450 something. That'll be in the description near the end of the video. But so we're back out here heading kind of southwest back to our truck. And when we get there, we're gonna go take a quick ride over to the Dwinell Pond wildlife management area, take a look at that, and we might stick around a little later. We'll have some other information about things in the area. One of them being the MWAM Wilderness Park and the MWAM River, which is real close by. All right, we're gonna head from the property now out over the private road till we get over to the Dwinell Pond clubhouse, and this is the road. We're in mid to later part of November, and believe it or not, we've had an extreme warm-up. Frost is starting to come back out of our roads. If you're not familiar with what that looks like, well, what happens is it turns everything to a slick of mud on the surface. Even good gravel will be a little muddy on this kind of weather, but it's a good road, good solid road. It's a private access road that comes in here. You'll see that outlined on the map that we overlay. And there are a number of cabins in here. People have mostly off-grid recreational cabins where they use them for either getting away from everybody in the world or hunting out of, riding their ATVs out of. Like we said earlier, there's many miles of trails, and this road system has direct access to that ATV trail system and the snowmobile trail system. Being only a mile and a half from the clubhouse is kind of a plus. So I wanted you to get a look at this road, and you know, you don't need four-wheel drive. You could drive a car in here if you're careful. We're out here on the old Winn road, and this is the private road we're going to turn in on to get to the property here in Winn. Mattakeunk Road. So if you're looking at, how do you say that, Mattakeunk? We're in there 1.5, 1.6 plus or minus miles. Now let's walk this way. And this is a more of a public road here, at least until you get down to the bridge. It's an old discontinued town road. This road connects all the way over to the town of Springfield. So right up ahead here, we've got Mattakeunk Stream running through. And this is the Dwinell Pond Four Seasons clubhouse and the start of the Dwinell Pond wildlife management area. And this is an area of about 2,500 acres, more or less, of state-owned land where they manage it for wildlife. There's over 800 acres of real high-quality wetlands in here. So you got some incredible waterfowl habitat in that area, wading birds. This stream, look down there, you can see this is a nice little trout stream. I used to fish it a lot when I was younger on some of the dead waters back in the woods, and caught some pretty nice trout came out of this, all wild brook trout. And over here, we've got a small boat landing where you can put in a canoe or a small motorboat and head up into Dwinell Pond and do a little fishing, maybe a little photographing of eagles and ducks and geese. But what a cool spot this is. And over here, and you'll see, this is the Dwinell Pond Four Season Clubhouse. And if you buy this property, you ought to join that club. Be well worth your time. Get to meet some like-minded folks up here in the Maine woods. And then right over here is where we put our boats in. So I think this is a really nice feature, being this close to this wildlife management area for this property. Come check it out while you're here. Well, folks, we're heading over to the Mattawamkeag Wilderness Park Road and check out the Mattawamkeag River, which isn't too far from the property. And we're on the Winn Road right now, or Route 168, heading towards Mattawamkeag. And to be honest, I think if you're a four-wheel aficionado and you want to take your ATV, you could probably get to the Mattawamkeag Wilderness Park Road quicker than coming this way. But we didn't bring an ATV, and I don't really ride them much. Okay, we're over here at Mattawamkeag Wilderness Park, and if you've never been here, this is a true gem. Very few people know about it, actually. You know, less than I would imagine. Beautiful Mattawamkeag River behind us, and actually this campground has power all the way back here in the woods. We're about 8 miles in from Route 2 in the town of Mattawamkeag. Actually, we come through Winn to get here. So we're going to take a walk down here with me. Let's check out the river. It is beautiful. They've got a screen shelter down here, picnic tables, lean-to sites, campsites. This is one of my favorite rivers. I don't know if you've watched any of our videos on Mattawamkeag River, but I'm always talking about this beautiful river. It's one of the cleanest in the state. Almost no dams on it at all. You got this beautiful gravel beach down here. Some great trout fishing in here in the spring and fall. And there in the summer, if you know where the spring holes are. What a beautiful spot. A little detour would take you on today, but I think it's worth checking out while you're up here in Maine. If you'd like to buy that property in Winn, you can ride over here with your ATV and check this out. Thank you for joining us on this tour of this property here in Winn. And I'd like to wrap up the video now. But before we do, let's talk about liking and sharing our videos if you would, and hitting that subscribe button down below and putting on all notifications. You won't miss the next video. The price on this property here in Winn is $29,900. The taxes are $263 for this current tax year. We've got over 1,400 feet of road frontage on 2 roads. Some nice trees, mostly hardwood, but a little bit of softwood mixed into it. We're only 1.5 miles from the Dwinell Pond Wildlife Management Area, and not too far over to Mattawamkeag Wilderness Park like we showed you earlier. If you want to come up, take a look at it, give me a call, 800-286-6164. Ask for Phil. Have a great day.